Valley, hooey Hollywood, where any office boy or young...
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of That Movie Show. Mike Wendt and Eddie McCabe joining you once again for another romp through the movie news and reviews. Eddie?
Oh, we are free at last.
Free at last, free at last. Oh, God Almighty, I'm free at last. But of course, just to recap the last year, we have to say thank you to Showcase Cinemas. First and foremost, because they sponsored our radio show from day one. Literally before we even had a single radio broadcast on the air, Showcase was like, yes, we want to get behind you guys. We like what you're doing. They listened to a couple of podcast episodes. The first question was, well, can you not curse? And we're like, yeah, if you're paying us to.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely, we can not curse. But yeah, thanks to Showcase Cinemas. They've been great. They're going through a tough time right now, as all of us are, with the quarantining and all the businesses shutting down. They're doing the best they can to just kind of keep their social presence alive on social media. So go follow their pages. They're keeping it simple. They're doing they're just doing like movie matchup polls. So they're doing like a March Madness type of thing in April.
Yeah, right.
So
I mean, you got nothing else going on.
Right. So, go to their Twitter page, go to their Instagram page, go to their Facebook page, hit the like button. And, if you throw something in the comments, let them know that movie show sent you, because we did appreciate the year of sponsorship. And we do look forward to continuing a relationship with Showcase Cinemas once movie theaters get back to opening, which I guess brings us to news, Eddie, because I see a lot of the movie theater chains are now hoping, our fingers crossing, for a mid-June reopening.
Yeah, I mean, that's scary.
I mean, that if that's best case scenario, I guess I'll take it, because a lot of movie studios are basically they're dumping their summer movies to Christmas now. I got the notification this morning that Top Gun Maverick has been moved to a December release date. It was originally, I think, next month, June, May, June, something like that. It was right around this time. And of course, Disney has just been dumping stuff onto Disney Plus.
Right. I think we're going to be sticking to a Saturday release. So I'll be surprised if we're not.
Why not?
Why not? So that means that Onward has just hit Disney Plus this weekend.
Which we're reviewing next week.
Which we're going to be reviewing next week. Hey, that's what they're looking to do. They're releasing Mulan and Black Widow onto Disney Plus. And that's the sad thing for movie theaters, right? Is that all of the studios that made these movies are pushing them back to get real theater releases. Well, that means that Showcase Cinemas, AMC, National Amusements, they're all, all of those movie theater chains now have no product, and so hopefully life gets back to normal by mid-June. But yeah, if I'm pushing back Mulan, Maverick, Black Widow, and
Ghostbusters sequel is next year.
Fast and the Furious.
Yep.
All of those movies getting pushed off. I don't have a product to put in my theater. What am I going to do? I'm going to do another re-release of The Hunt. I mean, come on.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to come to that movie show, and we're going to just do old school movie marathons. We're going to do that movie show. It does bringbacks forever.
Oh, do you know how much I would love to just get up and be like, look, at 11 a.m., we're starting the Universal Monster Movie Marathon.
Why not?
And we're gonna
fucking not, man. I mean, once this shit gets back to normal, I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna try to broach that conversation with Showcase, being like, look, you need content in your theaters. You don't I mean, it's not a joke. We're going to have a little bit of fun with it because that's what we do here, but it's not a joke. I mean, they don't have movies to release in theaters. All the summer movies, all the summer blockbusters, Morbius, Ghostbusters, a bunch of Sonys are all pushed back to next year.
Yes.
So they're not even pushing it to Christmas. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're taking a mulligan on 2020. Uncharted, Peter Rabbit 2, all of them are getting dumped to next year, 2021.
Yeah. And
so absolutely. And again, it's there is some personal feelings behind me trying to get that going, but also they do need shit like that. Why not?
If you have a catalog,
You need a reason to get people back into movie theaters once movie theaters open. And if you don't have the new Fast and the Furious with John Cena, why not put on a monster movie marathon for a day?
I watched Hobbs and Shaw.
It just hit HBO, right?
Yeah, I just watched Hobbs and Shaw.
2.5 hours of just bonkers.
Oh, man. I loved it. It was everything that I wanted.
You know, it's funny. It's the least Fast and the Furious movie, and I think that's why I like it the best.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I like the first Fast and the Furious for what it was. I'm not going to even go so far as to say I'm a fan of it, but I like the first one for what it was. It was a time capsule type of movie.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went off the rails and started making them superheroes, but I didn't believe any of these characters. Then they brought The Rock in, and I'm like, I like this franchise.
Oh, see, that's my favorite part about the Fast and the Furious franchise is that they got their second wind at movie 5. Right? Because 1 is Point Break, right? That's all number 1 is.
Right.
And so then 2 is okay. 3 doesn't have any of the characters that you cared about.
And the one they killed is coming back in the next one.
And the one they killed is basically they just keep pushing off it.
Just for Han, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's stupid. They brought the main cast back for 4, and that was like a serious movie, and it was okay. And then they were like, you know what? Let's just make this batshit crazy, and we'll bring in Dwayne, and it'll be bananas. And so
no, it's the same, but I can't look at him and be like, oh yeah, you're a Dwayne.
You're definitely a Dwayne. And so then so that's 5. And then they had 6, 7, 8, and 9 hasn't come out yet.
Okay, this is the 9th, right?
This is 9.
And it's just Saga.
Oh God. And
worst
now
subtitle ever.
I can't wait because I watched it and they're totally just gonna build on the Hobbs and Shaw franchise,
cool.
Which I can't wait because now I bet you they're gonna find Idris Elba's washed up body on a thing somewhere and they're gonna reprogram him and he's gonna be on their side and they're gonna like fight Mel Gibson or something.
Well, we're gonna be doing John Wick 3 today, Chapter 3, Parabellum, today on the review. But wasn't it that the voice, the controlling voice of whoever was controlling Idris Elba was supposed to be Keanu Reeves?
Oh, I don't know.
The Rock, I think, tweeted that shit out. He's like, we tried to get Keanu into this movie, and we couldn't work the scheduling out. I believe there was a series of tweets or maybe an inspirational Instagram post about it on the Rock's page.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I want to say there was like a lot of stories about Keanu supposed to being in Hobbs and Shaw. Because why not? We got Ryan Reynolds, we got Kevin Hart, and they're crushing it. Oh
God, that movie was so fun. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, I watched another movie of his that back to back. I watched this movie and then I watched Hobbs and Shaw.
Belly to belly.
Six Underground.
I watched it about a month ago. I fell asleep twice.
Oh man, I liked it.
Was it good? I'm not saying it was bad. I was watching it like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, I would like to see more of it. Like, if I forgot Michael Bay directed.
I was gonna say, was it Cameron or Bay? So it was a Michael Bay movie, right?
Yeah, it's a Bay movie, and it wasn't until I had to look up. I was like,
was it set in Miami?
No, it's not. It's
that's
set
why
in
it threw you.
Yeah, that's why it threw me. It wasn't set in Miami, but it was like, oh, this feels like Dubai, but it feels like they're not going to say Dubai. It's weird. It's a very weird What?
Is Dubai offensive now?
Well, I just didn't think they wanted to offend a real country, so I think they came up with a fake country, or I don't know the Middle East all that well. One of the two.
It might be real, and now you've offended them.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun for, again, what it was. It was a Netflix movie that had Ryan Reynolds in it.
Right. Also,
the chick from Ready or Not.
Yeah, she's doing great things.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I mean, she first I've liked her progression because she did The Babysitter, which was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Which, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend. Another fun horror cult comedy. It's a barrel of laughs and fun, but a lot of blood. Yeah. And then we covered Ready or Not in the archives, thatmovieshow.net.
Yes.
And we've been pushing off Guns Akimbo
I
for
know.
about 2 months. Thanks, pandemic. That's why we haven't got to Guns Akimbo, which we both want to. Like, we saw the trailer and we're like, fuck yes.
Yeah,
This is
but
everything I want. It's basically Crank meets Hobo with a Shotgun meets Fast and the Furious meets yes.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter with fucking guns duct taped to his hand. Yes. Wearing bunny slippers. All in. Oh, and Samara Weaving's in it. So
Yeah.
all in. All in.
But yeah, God, that movie. We'll get there.
We'll get there. It's on the docket. I've made the photoshops of it, so we're definitely fucking doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting my photoshopping for nothing.
Yeah, of course.
But what else have you been watching? What else have you been getting into?
I don't know. Did I
before
talk
we jump
about it
into John Wick?
Did I talk about it on last week's show? Have we talked about Tiger King?
You mentioned that and Don't Fuck with Cats on the radio version of it without saying Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah. Definitely watch those.
Okay, so it's been a week since you told me about them. When you told me about them, I felt wildly misled by Netflix marketing.
Yes.
Because I thought they were like funny, silly, rednecky movies or series, and apparently not.
No.
And the more I see on social media the posting about Tiger King, it's like there's no way this shit's living up to the hype.
Oh, see, that's the unfortunate thing is that
Like every post, it's either here's a game where I want you to list 10 things you don't like, or Tiger King.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone's family cosplayed as the Tiger King cast. I think this shit jumped the shark before anyone even watched it.
Oh no, definitely watch it. Definitely watch it.
Right.
Because but if you don't know the major plot points, it'll live up to the hype.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, cause I can tell you what it's about, but if I give you like major plot points and like quotes and stuff,
Documentary, right?
it's a documentary.
Okay. So from what I gathered, a bunch of redneck zoo owners, independent zoo owners, tried to kill each other.
More or less. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the overall arching plot. That's like,
I'll get to it. It's just like the more I see, the less I want. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll get to this. But Netflix also just put Bloodfather on, which is a really good Mel Gibson independent film.
Okay.
Like I've been a real fan, and I catch so much shit because I'm a fan of Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Every time I post about it on social media, there's a few dicks where like, I will never support him because of the things he said. Look, I don't know Mel Gibson. I've never met Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in Mel Gibson's point of view.
Right.
But he's entertaining as hell. He's a great actor.
Yeah. You're
like I'm not going to stop watching Mad Max or Lethal Weapon because he goes on drunken tirades. We've all been there, okay?
Yeah.
Grow the fuck up. You're not a saint. But his later, basically, in my opinion, Hollywood blackballing Mel Gibson couldn't have been better for his career. Now, financially, it probably hurt his wallet a lot. Yeah. But the movies he made, the independent movies he made, Get the Gringo is great. Bloodfather is great. Beaver is great. Jodie Foster directed that one. Yeah. They've been fantastic. Like latter day Mel Gibson is awesome.
I was just gonna say that the last big blockbuster like Hollywood thing I remember him being in was What Women Want.
Yeah.
And like that,
he was the villain in Machete Kills. He knocked it out of the park. He was a villain in Expendables 3, and there's a monologue after they capture him on the plane that still, I've seen it probably 15 times. Just that monologue. I've seen the movie like twice, but I've watched that monologue on YouTube. It still gives me chills. Like it's like that's why you're Mel Gibson. Yeah,
he's actually a really good actor, and it's terrible because there's a bunch of don't get your political point of views from actors.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm sorry. And that's the thing. Like, and maybe it's because I don't watch a lot of news. I'm not a political person. I don't take stock in what other people say to me.
Yeah.
Pretty much, even if they're not famous. I'm one of those, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I poke holes and question everything.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Mostly just because I'm kind of an asshole at times. And I'm like, you know what? You don't know as much as you think you know. And now I'm just going to sit here and annoy you because you're annoying me by trying to talk facts. No, not happening. I'm not doing this. So if you ever reach out to me on Facebook at like 2:00 in the morning and try to bitch and moan and complain about something, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to eviscerate you.
Yeah, of course.
Because now I'm awake and I'm moody.
Moody.
All right. John Wick 3. Want to jump into it? All right.
I mean, I just keep looking over my shoulder watching John Wick 3.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to hit the trailer. So as the man once said, hit the music.
Jonathan, what have you done?
To dream the impossible dream.
There's no escape for you. The High Table wants your life.
To right the unrightable wrong.
Tell me what you want.
Passage.
I can't help you.
To reach the unreachable star.
Do you expect him to make it out? A $14 million bounty on his head. And everyone in the city wants a piece of it. I say the odds are about even. Doc, 5 seconds.
John Wick, excommunicado in effect in 3,
2.
1.
And away we go.
To follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. To fight for the right, without question or pause. To be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause.
Sophia, we're not going in like the old days. Just a conversation.
Nothing's ever just a conversation with you, John.
Reach the unreachable
All right, so let's jump right into it. John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Let me get the business going here. It was released May 17th, 2019. It had a budget of $75 million. It did very well. It made $326.7 million on a 75 budget. That's awesome for them.
Yeah.
It was written by Derek Kolstad, Shay, Hatten, Chris Collins, Marc Abrams. The names got easier as the credits went down. It was directed by Chad. Jesus Christ. Stahelski. All right. That guy. It stars Keanu Reeves, Halle Berry, Lawrence Fishburne, Mark Dacascos, Lance Reddick, Angelica Houston, Ian McShane, Jason fucking Zukis is in this.
I know.
and a cast of amazing dogs.
So,
and I cannot wait to talk. Do you want to just do the dogs right up?
Well,
right up
no,
front?
because I love the movie from top to bottom. We gotta because my favorite, I would have to say that 2019 was my favorite year of movies.
All because of the Keanu's?
All because of Keanu.
Because
No.
it just enhanced the Keanuverse that you have created on this show.
Yes, it has. No.
All right, so where in the lexicon of the Shane Falcos and the Johnny Utahs does John Wick? What college did John Wick go to?
So he was an Ohio State sorry. This version of Johnny Utah, he ended up actually going to Harvard or Yale. We're gonna go with Yale. Just because that's what I've decided. And so went to an Ivy League school. He was a backup quarterback, right? Didn't really play all that much. Kind of antisocial, kind of awkward. But then ended up going to Harvard Law, where he ended up flunking out and becoming a hitman. Interesting. Yes.
Interesting. At what point did we find out in this movie. Here's why I like the John Wick franchise. And I don't think I picked up on it because I saw it in the theater.
Yep.
So I bought it immediately on Blu-ray, watched it probably 3 times, and then I kind of put it aside. And I revisited it this week for this.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really picked up until... Shut up! My phone just won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I have mine on Do Not Disturb.
Ah, you're dead to me. Anyway, I don't think I picked up until this viewing that I love the fact that they've doing their world building as the franchise goes further.
Yes.
Like the first John Wick movie, it's a lean and mean 90-minute action flick with a pretty simple premise. Bad guys do bad shit. They kill his dog. They steal his car. He's a badass assassin who's now coming out of retirement. Kill them all.
Somebody saw Taken and was just like, oh, so we can just give them like bare bones, like motivation and just a bunch of ass kicking and people will love it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Like this guy more time developing the mythology of the Continental Hotel in the first one than they did the actual main character.
Right. And that's the best. That's part of why this franchise has been so great, is because of the world that they continue to build in each one of these movies. And yeah, we spend most of the time building this main block of the Continental. Yep. And that's going to be the through line through all the movies. Yep. And then I don't really need to know a whole lot about John Wick. We can get there as we do these movies. Sure. It's like, yeah, you did something crazy that allowed you to leave the mob and marry this woman. She died of cancer. You're really torn up about this dog. Like, you know, by just showing and don't telling is a main point of these movies, especially when it comes to the character of John Wick. You know, and having him just do things and have people have conversations about him. You know, I watched him kill a bunch of men with a pencil.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Baba Yaga.
Like, me filling in the gaps of what I think happens with John is far more powerful than you showing me. And then, you know, you move on to the second one, and the second one builds the idea of the high table and kind of how the organization kind of works.
And it also gives us, you know, great screen time. First of all, Ian McShane is one of like my favorite supporting actors of all time. I first was introduced to him in Sexy Beasts, which you still have my DVD.
I do.
Have you watched it?
No, I should. I have time.
I mean, what the fuck else are you doing? Watch that movie. It's fantastic. Anyway, I was introduced to Ian McShane with Sexy Beast, which is a great movie that everyone should watch. And then Deadwood kind of put him on the map as like a mainstream success actor. This one, John Wick 2, put him on screen with Franco Nero.
Yeah.
The original Django. And I remember watching it because when we did John Wick 1 in the archives, thatmovieshow.net, I remember watching the second one. I think it was the first time I had seen the second one. And I think I literally bought it just because we were doing the first one and the third one hadn't come out yet. So I'm like, all right, what the fuck? I'll buy it. You know, I'm sure I'm going to like it. I like the first one. And I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like Franco Nero. And I, of course, go right to IMDb as I'm watching. And I think there was like probably 57 tweets that were just man boners for the fact that the original Django and fucking Ian McShane are in the same scene together. And I'm like, this is just awesome.
Too bad you didn't make friends then.
I know, right? Fucking. Anyway. Anywho. But yeah, so we get to John Wick 3. Chapter 3.
Yeah.
Parabellum.
I love that this movie dovetails right in from John Wick Chapter 2.
The whole series does, doesn't it? Like, doesn't John Wick 1 end as John Wick 2 starts?
My favorite part about this franchise has to be that it's a book. It feels like a book. We're moving from chapter to chapter to chapter. And that's why I'm glad it's called Chapter 3 Parabellum. Mm-hmm. You know, but yeah, it starts. John Wick has murdered somebody on continental grounds, and he's going to be excommunicado. And we watch the minutes of him. You know, we watch the minutes before he ends up getting excommunicated, right?
From that weird hipster piercing bookmaking office that they have. They're all still pounding away at old typewriters and filing in closets.
Weird headsets and books.
It's like a 1920s telephone operator operation there, but everyone's tattooed and pierced to shit.
It's awesome.
It's wonderful.
It is delightful. It's just so cool. And so, yeah, he ends up having to, go to the doctor, who's the key maker, which is very, very fun. That guy's just in these.
Not the key master. This is Gozer.
Yeah, that Gozer. And then basically more world building. He has to go to like this woman that brought him over from Russia, from Belarus.
Belarus, the worst Olympic hockey team ever. Belarus. Always funny when I'm watching fucking Olympic hockey. I'm like, really? Come on, guys, tap out. And you're not Russia. You're not Canada. You're not even the United States. Tap out.
Just tap out.
You're not even the Czech Republic, pal.
Yeah. But it's so interesting as they go
Sorry to our listeners from Belarus.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any. I don't know if we have anything.
If you do, comment.
The only way I think people click on from Belarus is if you buy likes. You are huge in Belarus. Yeah, I know. $20.
$20 will get you. But I love this ballet, Krav Maga, like underground orphanage that this woman has.
Yeah, I mean, she's straight up. Angelica Houston is playing the character, and she's straight up basically from birth training assassins.
Yeah, that's basically what she's doing. Is she's
and ballerinas.
I wonder if
world-class ballerinas and world-renowned assassins.
Yeah, well, I wonder if the females are like trained to be assassins too, and like
look, Eddie, it's 2020. Women can do things now.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm the asshole. No, but it's just like we haven't met a character that would be like John Danny's sister.
Now say vagina, Amy Schumer.
I would like to see that in number 4.
John Donnie?
John Donnie's like sister. You know what I mean? Like a person that like went up through that school with him.
Well, I mean, we're going to see it on Disney Plus. It's Black Widow, right?
Yeah, right. That's exactly.
I mean, her backstory seems very similar.
Oh, that's exactly.
All jokes aside, the Black Widow backstory seems very, very similar.
Oh yeah, no, this was definitely basically taken from the Black Widow mythos,
right? Which a hope. I mean,
probably without the mind control.
Right. Exactly.
Without the Red Room.
Sorry, you were breaking up there.
Oh, yeah, no, she, the John Wick, like
just the last part. You said something about a red room.
Oh yeah, there's the Red Room is like a torture room that the Black Widows went through.
Oh, fair enough.
It's a part of the mythos.
That's the other movie that we're going to cover later this year.
Yeah,
because it will be on Disney Plus. That's okay. Just a side pause. That's another shitty thing about the movie theaters being closed, because we were going to probably host another Marvel marathon when Black Widow came out, and it was just going to be the Black Widow movies, which are kind of awesome because it's like, all right, we got Iron Man 2, Winter Soldier, Civil War, the Avengers movies. It's like, oh, that's a pretty tight marathon right there.
So I don't have to watch Thor: The Dark World?
Right. I can. I mean, I like Ant-Man, but I can pause on both of those. So cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't need to watch Iron Man 3.
Look, when Age of Ultron is the worst movie in your marathon, that's a pretty good marathon. It's a pretty good marathon.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah. So John Wick is basically just trying, like,
he's got a ticket. He apparently that big crucifix was a ticket.
Yeah, so he can basically ask her for one favor.
I think it's actually happening over your shoulder right now.
Oh no, she's about to get stabbed through the hands.
Oh, there that goes.
Adjudicator.
Yeah, and again, just the weird world building that's happening throughout these series. Like everybody now has that phrase, "I have served and I will be of service." That's that's a new thing, but everyone seems to be a part of it.
Yeah.
The adjudicator. Who is she again? Because she's fantastic in the TV show Billions on Showtime.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Let me find it here. Asia Kate Dillon is the adjudicator. Amazing on Billions. That show is a fucking awesome show, and I'm probably going to re-sign up for Showtime next month just to watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but I like her in this. I think
Giamatti puts on an acting clinic in that fucking show. He is wonderful. Anyway.
Yeah, and so basically John Wick seems to have a plan the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
The chase sequence through New York to get to that theater is bonkers. He kills a man with a horse.
I was gonna say, is that the one with the horse?
Yeah.
Him shooting, him dismantling the motorcycles, because there's 2 chases with motorcycles.
Yeah.
And it's just like every time he shoots a guy on a motorcycle and the motorcycle veers off and crashes into something, that's gonna get a laugh out of me 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just like, God damn, this is good stuff. Thank God stuntmen are directing this movie, because this is awesome.
It is. That's probably the best part, is that the stuntman, the action is so awesome that.
Because we even kind of glossed over the first 2 real action sequences when he's in like the Hall of Knives.
Yeah.
With that whole kung fu crew, the first one, he's in the library picking up his ticket, which is the big crucifix and the picture of his wife,
right?
And then he basically kills Lurch.
Yeah, he just murders a giant
with like a book.
Yeah,
he force feeds a book to him.
Yeah, he just like breaks his neck with a book somehow. Like,
great. All the while he's been shot a bunch.
Yeah, right.
He still hasn't patched up his bullet wounds.
Yeah, that's why he has to go to the doctor,
right?
And the keymaster there helps, put him together.
So his escape plan is to go to Casablanca.
Yeah, because when in doubt, follow Humphrey Bogart.
Absolutely, and I believe that's where we get to the scene behind you.
Yeah, yes, because he goes and meets Halle Berry, who is the manager of the Continental
Casablanca.
Yeah, Casablanca Continental.
Now, at this point, his time has run out.
Yeah.
And the big thing about the adjudicator is she's going around basically, for lack of a better term, firing everybody. Yeah. Ian McShane gave him an hour to run, which he probably wasn't supposed to, according to the high table law. So now he is being removed from Continental New York.
He's the only one that gets fired, because the idea.
They try to kill Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
They fire the Pigeon King.
Yeah, they fired the Trash King or whatever the hell is.
Whatever hell he is. With and it's kind of cool because it's very mythical kung fu-y type of paybacks, where it's like you gave him 7 bullets, so you're gonna die by 7 slashes, and the not Sonny Chiba from Kill Bill 2 starts cutting him up.
Yeah, Marc Dacascos.
Yeah, fantastic.
The Iron Chef.
Who is he?
Yeah, he's
Where do I know him from, though? By the way,
Iron Chef,
the TV show.
Yeah, he's the host of Iron Chef.
Horseshit.
Yeah,
there's no way that's him.
Yeah, that's definitely him.
I don't see his name on the credits here. I don't know who that is. I'm trying to. I hate to sound racist, but I'm just trying to find the Asian pictures and click on them on their IMDb page.
Zero is the name of the character.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Anyway, if Eddie's right, oh wait, Jesus Christ, you are right.
Yeah,
I just found him.
Yes.
Well, he's actually done some stuff though.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely
he was a 80s action guy, early 90s action guy.
Yeah,
he did a lot of those fucking we're gonna try to make Eric Roberts a kung fu master type of movies.
100%. 100%. But yeah,
like Ninja Academy.
Yes. Yeah. He's definitely that Asian martial arts guy in a lot of things. So
really, that's who he is.
Yeah, that's who he is. That's probably who you've.
Holy shit!
Yeah, Jesus.
No idea. Yeah. You're right. Iron Chef. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Eddie with the deep cuts. Gotta love it. Anyway.
I'm here for.
So he has that scene where he feeds her blowfish. That's very much like the warm sake scene in Kill Bill 2.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But yeah, he cuts up Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, and he stabs Angelica Houston's hands.
Stabs her hands because she helped him somehow.
These were her helping hands.
Ah, gotcha. There you go.
Those were her helping hands. To John Wick.
And then John gets to Belarus, gets to Casablanca with Halle Berry.
Yeah, and so the idea is that they're gonna go to talk to her boss, who is the guy that makes the gold coins.
Right.
Or like one of the places that makes the gold coins.
Right.
But and so he needs to talk to her or talk to him, because the whole plan is that John wants to talk to the guy that's in charge of the high table.
And is that the guy in the desert?
Yeah, that's the guy in the desert.
All right. Well, we got to take a pause, because what they do in this scene with the dogs and the fucking that is one of the greatest action sequences in movie history. Plain and simple.
Oh yeah, it is awesome.
And I mean, I got the Blu-ray, and there's a like an 8-minute behind the scenes on this scene titled "Dog Foo," and they had five dogs. I forget exactly where they're from. They're not German Shepherds, but they're like there's something. But they basically bought these 5 dogs at birth.
Okay.
And trained them, the movie company, and trained them for this movie basically from birth.
Wow.
I swear to God. And basically the trainers then had to train Halle Berry to be a trainer, so that when they were on set, because you can't have a trainer, because these are like precision attack dogs that have been trained, to do what they do. And she basically went through months and months and months of training to the point that she was as effective with the dogs as the actual dog trainers were. Yeah. So that when they were shooting, as it's happening right over your shoulder, when they're shooting the scene, she was able to command the dogs in the scene and make it a part of the movie. So when she's actually yelling commands at the dogs in the scene, she's yelling actual commands to the dogs. So they don't have a dog trainer off camera yelling these commands. It's actually Halle Berry doing it. It was one of the most intriguing 8 minutes of behind the scenes I have ever seen, because you look at this, you watch the movie, and your brain in 2020 immediately goes to a lot of CGI.
Yeah, but they're real dogs.
They're real dogs doing real stunts, going after real crotches. And the actor, the blonde guy, not in this scene, but he's already been dispatched. But the guy who they went to meet, who made the coins,
yes,
he didn't know he was going to be doing dog stunts until the day he showed up on set.
Of course. And
they basically strapped this harness to his waist, and it has this little green foam, neon green toy. And they're basically telling him, like, all right, so the dog is going to grab this thing, and it's a tugger. They call it a tugger because it's like strapped around your waist, and it has a little bit of give to it so that the dogs can, it'll mask that they're, tugging on his crotch. And it's, neon green, obviously, for green screen shit. And he's like, all right, well, I'm a team player. I'm going to go with it. But and he literally said this in the behind the scenes. He's like, but it is a real dog and my real crotch that are going to be in this scene together. And I don't really know how I feel about this, but I have to trust them, I guess. And he did it. And
well, that was one of the things that really got me hyped about this movie, is because Halle Berry did the circuit, right? Yeah. She was on all the late night talk shows, and everybody wanted to talk about this dog scene. And so they hyped this up, and they were talking about it and all this other stuff. And then you see it in the movie, and it's like, holy crap.
I mean, it was one of the things I remember in the theater laughing my balls off, because it was so well put together. And the directors, because they're stunt guys, they don't do the standard Marvel action scenes where it's 57 cuts for one punch. They're doing long takes. And they even talk about it in the dog behind the scenes thing, where it's like, they're doing long ass takes with these dogs, and the dogs are hitting their marks, and it's fucking bonkers, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of thing, is like, I love martial arts movies. I love kung fu and action movies, like this. And Marvel has a million cuts to mask the fact that Chris Evans can't really fight, and it's
or the fact that he's not in the same room as the person he's fighting.
Yeah, right. Yes, that too. But it's like, these sequences, they're so long and so wide, and it's just like, you have
that dog is really doing that.
Yeah, that dog really ran up.
I don't know if people watching on Facebook can see over Eddie's shoulder right now, just because the way it crops it, but the dogs are really running around this set. And I mean, this part of the movie, if you watch it in context, doesn't need to be as long as it is.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't need. It almost doesn't need to be there. Like they could have got to the car a lot quicker and got the fuck out of there. But
Yeah.
it's so long because it's so good, and because it's an actual physical set with actual dogs doing actual stunts with actual people.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that, and this is just, one of those movie tricks you learned at Disney's Hollywood Studio at the Indiana Stunt Spectacular. When you need, when you only have a certain group of stunt guys and you need them to play multiple roles, wrap their faces.
Yeah, right. Just wrap their faces. Yeah, because this action sequence probably has a total of like 10 people in it.
Probably.
But
it's one of those things, because even with the other John Wick movies, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, because this was Keanu's stunt crew from The Matrix.
Right.
And it's the same stunt team. So, I mean, these stunt guys are probably the stunt guys that run throughout the movie. They just had this long action sequence, and they're like, all right, we'll just wrap your heads up.
Yeah, we'll just throw you in masks. We'll throw you in masks, kind of, so that we can just keep using you and using you. Oh, God, it's such a good movie.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
But yeah, then Keanu Reeves walks 40 years in the desert like Moses.
He seriously did, in a suit.
In a suit. Yeah.
Dude crawled through the desert in Armani.
Yeah. It's also so weird and mythical too, because it's just like, look, here's the deal. You're going to walk in the desert, and when you can't walk any further, keep walking, and then he'll find you. And it's just like, what?
Sure.
What type of weird nonsense is that? Then
he gave 8 minutes of dogs beating the shit out of people. I will believe anything you say.
Yeah. And so he then goes in and just walks in the desert. And after he's done walking in the desert, he wakes up in like a sweet, Burning Man tent.
Yeah.
And
it's basically what you see on millionaires' Instagrams when they go to like
Coachella?
Belize or Coachella, or any of those. What was what's the Ibiza is the big one for rich people that I would never afford. But you see like shit like that on their Instagrams, be like, oh, everyone should try this. I'm like, fuck you. I Googled that shit. It's $22,000 a night.
Yeah, right. No, thank you.
And it's not all inclusive.
Yeah. No, thank you.
You're paying for every drink.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when money doesn't matter, so,
So he chops his finger off.
Yeah, because basically he's like, look, I'll bring you back into the fold and I'll undo all this nonsense. But you're back with me. And in order to like prove that you're back with me, I'm cutting off your ring finger.
Right. Meaning basically, because this whole thing has been about John Wick is a retired killer. He's hell bent on revenge. And now he's, as the movies have gone on, less about revenge, more about survival. But he's not like taking assassin jobs. And now this guy is telling us, yes, you are now. You're back taking assassin jobs. And your first job is going to be to kill Ian McShane.
Yes.
Who has protected you through most of this.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because when John Wick 2 ended, and for most of this John Wick 3 movie, up until this particular point, I thought that the whole thing was going to be John Wick is now going to try and murder the entire high table. If I'm going to have to get out of this, this is how I'm going to get there.
Right.
And so it's like, look, I got to find the guy, and I got to find the guy that sits above the high table, and I got to murder him. And that's how I'm gonna make this okay.
Right.
And for him to kind of just be like, look, I guess this is what I gotta do now, was very interesting. It was a very interesting plot point, and it kind of took it in a little bit of an unexpected direction, which I enjoyed.
And it's also, I mean, because that doesn't become his mission. It shows that even though he's retired, even though they're all trying to kill him, the character John Wick still has enough respect for the high table and for what he's gone through and the order of things, that he's not just going to be like, I'm going to I'm going to bring the whole system down. He doesn't give a shit about bringing the system down.
Yeah,
he just wants to
be done.
Live.
Yeah,
also, side note, I'm on there, I had the cast IMDb page here, and the actual characters' names are wildly hilarious and vague.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
For example, Angelica Houston is the director.
Yep.
There's a character called the Elder, who I believe is the character we're talking about here. Guy. Asia Kate Dillon is the Adjudicator. She doesn't actually have a name. Lawrence Fishburne is the Bowery King. He doesn't have a name.
Ian McShane is, I'm pretty sure, just the manager.
No, he's Winston.
Oh, he's Winston.
He got a name in this one. But where is it? Let's see. I'm trying to see if Zero. You got all the people in that weird telephone operator place are the operator, the administrator, the librarian, the ballerina. Jason Mantzoukas is the TikTok man because he literally sits there, points at a watch, and goes, "TikTok, Mr. Wick." That's his name now. Yeah. You have the ticket taker. You have Shinobi 1 and Shinobi 2. You have a bunch of dress rehearsal ballerinas. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's stuff like I love because it's like it's a movie franchise now.
Yes.
That is based on just being straight ahead, balls out action movies.
Right.
So while they are telling a great story and they are building a fantastic world, the characters don't really matter. You know what I mean? Let's not get muddled down with names. Clearly, Lawrence Fishburne controls the Bowery. Guess what he's going to be called? The fucking Bowery King.
Yeah, it's just
like I said, Pigeon King. I wasn't far off.
No, you weren't. You definitely
could have really been named that.
And that's kind of the beauty of this movie is its simplicity. The Taken franchise lost its way, you know. The other thing too is it goes to the idea of like you should only have a sequel if you have interesting characters, not if you have an interesting plot, you know, because like the Hangover movies, the sequels, they sucked, and they sucked because
here's the thing, the second one is just a copy and paste of the first one set in Bangkok instead of Vegas. The third one, if it wasn't associated with the Hangover world and they just put different, would have been an actually decent little movie. Yeah. I'm not saying it would have been a blockbuster. I'm not saying it would have won awards. But the third one isn't a terrible movie. They actually tried to do something there.
Right. Yeah. Well, because the second one was so copy and paste that they tried to do something so different. And so
it's funny because the second one actually made money and the third one didn't.
Yeah. Well, because
they shot themselves in the foot by copying and pasting the second one.
Right.
The one they actually did something with didn't do anything. You know what? We'll do Hangover 3 later in the year.
yeah, we will. But this, you have so many interesting characters and you have such an interesting world that, character names and plot doesn't really matter because...
The Continental. There's the concierge. He's the manager. We get it.
Yeah, it took us 3 movies to get Winston.
Right. You know, why are we muddying the waters with fucking names for the concierge? He's the concierge. That's who you asked for.
Yeah.
Bring this dog to the Continental, give him to the concierge. You know, because if he told the cab driver, bring this dog to the Continental and give him the Rupert, he'd be like, who the fuck is that? And then we'd have to have a backstory.
Yeah, right.
Let's move this along and get to the fucking.
Well, yeah, right. That's exactly what it is. This movie just gets to the fucking. That's it. That's 100% it. Look, we can give character beats and we can give plot development, as we go.
That's what they've done throughout the series. I mean, like I said, we know more about John Wick's background in the third movie than we do in the previous 2.
Right.
I mean, all of a sudden he's from Belarus and was a trained assassin in kung fu dojos by Angelica Houston, who also does ballet shows.
Yeah, right.
But all of that took about 3 minutes.
Right. And I didn't need that in John Wick 1 and 2. I didn't need that
information.
Needed
him to kick ass.
Yeah, I didn't need that information in John Wick 1 and 2. I have it now. But so he's going to go murder Winston. Like that's
what he's been tasked to do.
That's what he's been tasked to do, which is very, very interesting because Winston is all pissed off because he's like, "Hey man, like I've been loyal to the high table and everything for years.
He's been the manager of the New York Continental for 40 years.
Yeah,
and now he's been basically fired.
Yeah,
they're giving him like 7 days to clean up his affairs, get his affairs in order, and basically that's your notice. You got your pink slip.
Yeah, you're gonna get murdered. And so John Wick shows up to murder, and basically he just talks him into not.
Well, it's also kind of weird because if you think about it, and honestly, I hadn't until this very moment, John Wick is tasked to murder Winston because Winston helped John Wick. So John Wick is set to murder the guy who helped him because he helped him.
Yeah, right. It's very weird. It's like,
and he's like, "All right, take my finger. Here we go.
Yeah,
Let's do this shit.
Burn it."
And we get our second New York motorcycle chase, which are always fun. And then we get back to the Continental. Barely by the skin of his fingernail, he gets his hand on the Continental step because the Iron Chef is after him and he's kicking his ass. And the concierge comes out and basically tells the Iron Chef, who was now just the Iron Chef to me. Now that's a thing. Yeah. He's like, you can't kill him on Continental grounds because that's why he got excommunicated. And the guy's like, but he has a contract. And he's like, look, he got a contract because he got excommunicated. If you want one as well, by all means.
Right. By all means.
The rules. Like they still, there are rules. You have to follow the rules. So they bring John in and they bring the Iron Chef in. They sit him down in a little library area, waiting area for Ian McShane.
Yep.
And we get a real reuniting with the dog who's been hanging out at the Continental this whole time. And very funny scene. We get what becomes an ongoing joke throughout the first half of this basically the final action sequence. The first half of it is kind of Iron Chef and his two guys being massive John Wick fans.
Oh, they're huge John Wick fans.
They're like, it is such an honor to meet you. And he's like, is this the dog?
I can't pronounce his name actually, but he's Shinobi 2, so he's one of the guy's like best students.
Okay, yeah.
And he's in Raid and Raid 2.
I kind of assumed just watching this movie that a lot of these guys were in the Raid movies.
Yeah,
like I'm guessing if you really dig into the stunt guys, they probably had a lot to do with the Raid movies.
Yeah. And so he's in that, and I absolutely loved him. Their action sequence, their fight scene is fantastic.
And just again, a little bit, just more little world building. They have this separate room that's 100% made of glass.
Yeah,
because they only, as Ian McShane says, you only use this room when you have to see what your opponent is holding under the table.
Yeah, right.
Cool. You built 2 floors of glass that you never use.
Yeah.
This is like your last case scenario.
So basically they've decided that they're going to not listen to the high table.
Well, what happened? Yes and no. Basically they're trying to kill John Wick. John Wick gets back to the Continental, and because the Continental is still sacred ground, you can't fucking kill anybody on it. So they're waiting for Ian McShane. John Wick gets called up, and while he's in that meeting, the adjudicator comes in, and they have a little back and forth. John basically says, I'm not going to kill him.
Right.
Because she's like, okay, well, you're here to kill him. He's right there. Kill him. And he's like, nah.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, cool. Picks up the phone and deconsecrates the Continental.
Right.
Basically making it
open ground.
It's a field day. So they go through the deconsecration, filing of the paperwork and stamping of the thing, typing it. Again, that side part of this little world is so weird, but so cool at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. It's
like
unnecessary, but fun.
Filing. Yeah. It's like, all right, we have to do the countdown. It's like, all right, the Continental in New York will be deconsecrated in 5. The deconsecration will commence in 4, 3. It's like, God damn, you guys are methodical. It's really cool.
Real attention to details.
Nice. To details, yes. So they deconsecrate it, and the adjudicator calls in the troops.
Yes,
and it's basically John Wick, Lance Reddick, and they go to Ian McShane's armory and start loading up. And one of the funnier scenes, that it's one of those like, okay, we got 2 guys because Ian McShane is just going to chill and drink brandy in his little room there, waiting for all the bedlam to happen. And we can't just have John Wick and Lance Reddick, the concierge, be the only action in this with the bad guys. So they literally... He opens up a door and 40 guys come running out with guns. I'm like, where the fuck were they the whole time? Have they just been hanging out in the assassin lounge waiting for shit to jump off?
Yeah, it was so weird. It was just like all of a sudden it's just like, you had an army this whole time?
This whole time. And they die instantly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they don't have any armor.
No, that's the other thing. John Wick never has armor on. I mean, the bad guys show up and they're like in super armor.
Yeah.
Like they're not even ducking bullets. They're literally just deflecting.
Right.
And which of course makes for the obstacle that you need a little bit of conflict, because John Wick can't just easily kill them in this, because this is the climax of the movie.
Right,
so we have to get, a little bit more. By the way, for a pinpoint accurate, very meticulous assassin, John Wick pisses away bullets.
Oh yeah.
Like nobody's business. And I get it. It's a movie. I don't think in reality this type of assassin would just throw away bullets like John Wick does, because okay, you figured out after the first few that they're head to toe armor, but you're still just knocking out rounds into them. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah, you got to do more kung fu, man.
Right. Where is your kung fu? Because he's just pissing away bullets. Then, of course, one of the things that always gets a giggle out of me is when they run out of bullets and throw the guns at them.
Yes. Yeah.
It always gets me.
Yeah, so they end up finding a better alternative to fight these guys.
Well, they get armor-piercing shotgun shells.
Yes, and they just go to town.
It's wonderful for a few minutes where they're just heads being exploded.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because they're just putting the gun right to the head and poof.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and then we get then we get the final showdown between all the assassins.
Yes.
And it's as delightful as you would imagine it being for them.
That sentence sounds. Yes.
Yeah.
All the assassins.
Yeah, all the assassins. They're just fighting, but it's just they're like also respectful of one another the entire time, because like the three assassins are huge John Wick fans.
Complete John Wick fans. Like they really want to get a selfie with this guy if he doesn't kill them.
Yeah, right. It's bananas. But all of the fight scenes are great because it's the 2-on-1 fight and then the 1-on-1 fight. Mm-hmm. And they're both fantastic.
Spoiler alert, John Wick wins.
Yeah, John Wick wins. Spoiler alert. And then they head to the roof. And this is where we're going to have the truce where
go.
Where the adjudicator is talking to Winston, and basically he did it to prove a point of I can defend the
Continental on my own, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, side note, awesome roof deck.
Yeah,
that fireplace with a couch is gorgeous.
Yeah, I wish I had that.
Seriously, I don't know what hotel they're using for that thing, but that's awesome. In New York, get your shit together and open a Continental. I know they did a pop-up once, but make that a thing.
Yeah, just
make that shit a thing. That roof deck is awesome.
Yeah.
So he leads her to believe that he was doing this all as a ploy to prove he can defend the Continental, and in order to work his way to earn his way back in, to basically not get fired, he's going to kill John Wick.
Yeah.
So, as you do in movies, you shoot him in the chest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he shoots him in the chest and John Wick just topples over.
Why would anybody shoot anybody in the face, to do a job? They're assassins. But anyway, yeah. Oh, and takes the hardest fall ever. I don't give a shit if you guys all had this planned.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't.
I don't know. I'm a little torn. I want to say that Ian McShane had this plan all along, that John was going to get scooped up.
Right. But I don't know.
I don't know yet. And that's why John Wick 4 is going to be great. Because it's not people from the Continental that pick him up.
No, it's the Bowery.
Yeah. And the Bowery. But that fall would kill any man.
Oh, yeah.
He not only it's okay. So he topples over the roof, hits the awning, and most our brains are taught us, okay, he's going to roll off the awning. No, he bounces off the awning, hits a fucking a metal balcony across the street with his head.
Oh, yeah.
Falls flat on the ground. And so Ian McShane gets his wish. He's still the manager.
Yep. And it's just weird because his he tells the adjudicator of just basically it's isn't it scary knowing that the boogeyman might be out there and coming to get you? And it's just oh man, I don't know if you guys had a conversation, but if you didn't, this is terrifying.
Here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but that's motherfucking John Wick. And if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah, now you know, and you're going to die. You're gonna die.
So and then she realizes, because she's about to take off, she thinks John Wick's dead, all is right with the world, let's get back to business. And she comes back in and being like, okay, John Wick's gone. To which, of course, Ian McShane, in the great Ian McShane voice, it's a tragedy. and she's like, no, like he's not in the street anymore. Cut to, of course, he's in the shopping cart. Jason Mantzoukas is pushing him. The dog is with him. And the Bowery King, a.k.a. the Pigeon King, is not dead.
Yeah,
he's just all scarred up and drinking a Fanta underground.
Yeah, and he's like, John, are you mad? And he's just like, oh, yeah, I'm so mad. Let's go murder bitches.
In the classic way to end any Keanu film, it's just a one-word answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
That is one of the things I do like about these John Wick movies is they play, like, let's be honest. Keanu's speaking voice is an acquired taste at best.
Oh, absolutely.
So the fact that they're limiting his dialogue in these, like, it works because he becomes that silent assassin where it's almost like a Silent Bob thing. When he says something, you're like, holy shit, he's speaking. Okay, let's pay attention. You know what I mean? And it's usually just I guess I'm back.
Yeah, right. Yes.
I am an FBI agent. See, you don't believe that guy.
No,
no. You're not. Johnny Utah, you're not.
Yeah, no.
I learned to take my first pipe today, dude.
Yeah, Johnny Utah.
Or tube, pipe, I don't know.
Oh, God, it's better. The less words you say, the better. Porn. The less words you say, the better. Keanu, you're fantastic.
You are fantastic. So, yeah.
That's
John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum?
Yes, it is.
Right, all right. Oh, shit, we never do this before we start the show. What are we doing next week, Eddie?
We're doing Onward.
That's right, because Disney is releasing their latest Pixar movie, Onward, onto Disney Plus. So what the hell?
It's on there right now, so you can watch it right now on Disney Plus.
Because it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it's Saturday morning, and I'm drinking. Fuck me. I always wondered, because, people think this is live on Saturday mornings. And I'm like, I watched last week, so I'm like, oh, shit, I am just sitting there drinking the whole time. Do they think I'm drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning? Like, come on. Probably. They've watched Wicked Bites. They probably think that. Anyway, next week is going to be Pixar and Disney's Onward, which if you have Disney Plus, you can check out and join the conversation. For myself and Eddie McCabe, you can follow us on social media at Mike Wendt, at the Eddie McCabe. Eddie has a brand new TikTok that he's filling with content, so please go follow that. Hashtag That Movie Show. If you want to have us review a movie, we have nothing but time on our hands. And of course, thatmovieshow.net is the website where you can find the archives. You can also find links to follow the podcasts on audio podcasts, which are all podcasting apps. Just type in That Movie Show if you're on one. Facebook page, which you might be watching this on right now. If you're not, facebook.com/thatmovieshowtv. I don't think I'm missing anything. You know what?
That's it.
You know how to find us. It's been 2 years of this shit.
Yeah,
this is episode 104, I think. You know how to find us. Thanks for joining us for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. And we'll see you next week for Onward.
Bye, everybody.
Hooey Valley, Hooey Hollywood.